You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Dangerously cold, with wind chills 30 to 20 below, warming up this afternoon to feeling 20 to 15 below. As temperatures climb throughout the evening and overnight, we will climb above zero by early tomorrow morning. And light snow moves in late, with less than an inch expected. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. It's 7 below zero at our studios.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
Mike Siegel. Hey, Mike.
When I look back on all those years on the road and going on 2-lane highways in northern Wisconsin, in the dead of winter, it could have been like 10 below outside. One deer jumps out in front of me. I was like, I'm done here.
You're in a ditch and they're not going to find you for 3 days. Dead deer carcass over there and a dead comedian carcass.
Holding his date book.
Somebody might want to call and cancel him at Zany's next week in Chicago.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Hi, I'm Samuel L. Jackson. When the UNCF, the United Negro College Fund, was founded 80 years ago, they hoped that they could change this nation for the better, and they have. As a proud alum of an HBCU, Morehouse College, I'm an advocate for HBCU. I support the work that UNCF does for students of color,
30 seconds.
scholarship, and internship for 50,000 deserving students each year. Visit uncf.org today, and remember, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our outstanding producer and engineer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is 6 past the hour of 12 noon on this Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Glad to have you along with us here. Sun is out. Guns are not out. I mean, anybody who's not wearing their shirt today, a little soft in the head, I think, Mr. Zommers. It's chilly.
Yeah, you're going to get frostbite and hypothermia, all that good stuff.
Right.
Wear clothes. It's too cold.
Right.
Better stay inside.
Downright dangerous today. The cold temperatures across Wisconsin. Several school districts either canceled classes or delayed them. I know in the Milwaukee area, Marquette University and others canceled classes for today. Even it's so cold that even Marquette canceled online classes. You know it's cold when that happens.
Is that so?
I'm serious.
Wow.
I'm serious. In fact, because I'm like those Marquette folks. I mean, they're much smarter than I am, number one. Let me see if I can find this, because they were tweeting out last night, and it was a litany. Here we go. I can't even pronounce all these words. It says all Marquette University classes are canceled Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, due to severe weather conditions in the greater Milwaukee area. All classes are canceled, regardless of modality, in person, synchronous, and asynchronous online.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what an asynchronous class is.
Well, asynchronous, it just means it's not happening at the same time. Like if it's a synchronous class online, it would be everybody signs on at the same time and watches a lecture and can talk to each other. Asynchronous is like a video gets uploaded, you watch it on your own time and then do your work.
That's why Kevin kicked me off campus. I couldn't tell you what asynchronous classes were. Anyway, be safe today. That's the bottom line. Cold weather warnings, I believe many expired a couple of minutes ago at noon. That doesn't mean that all of a sudden it's sunshine and roll. It's sunshine, but not so much roses. Just be careful out there, and if you do have to travel, make sure you have a full tank of gas, as Mom likes to remind us, and also your cell phone is charged up and you're ready to go. So weather certainly is making news today in the state of Wisconsin. Did you watch the national championship college football game last night, Zommers?
I did not.
I did. It was a great break from the day, as it turns out. The Ohio State University taking on Notre Dame. Notre Dame drove down. It was like a 9-minute drive, gutsy drive. And their quarterback scored the touchdown to go up 7-0. In fact, he worked so hard, he went to the sideline and puked. And it took everything out of him. And then Notre Dame fell way behind. Well, they made a little comeback in the fourth quarter, but OSU goes on to win it pretty handily, 34-23. And the Big Ten, once again, is like the first time that that the Big Ten has won the national championship back-to-back in just forever. Michigan last year, and now Ohio State. So I'm happy Ohio State's a Big Ten university. Tony Zimmerman on the YouTube, very upbeat. Ohio. It was a game. It was a great game, as a matter of fact. So especially if you're an Ohio State fan, I felt bad for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. They had a great season as well. But boy, I mean, props to Ohio State though. They lost the game, as it's known, between Michigan and Ohio State. And people were ready to hang Ryan Day, the Ohio State coach, in effigy, talking about firing him, who would be next. Then they lost the Big Ten championship game to Oregon, and they really rallied. And Ryan Day said, look, we have a chance to do something special. It's 4 games. And they came back and beat Oregon in the playoffs, number 1 overall seed. And then, of course, Texas they beat as well along the way. And here they are. They beat Notre Dame last night. And Tony reminds us, yes, Marcus Freeman, the coach for Notre Dame, a former Ohio State player. So congratulations to the Buckeyes. College football has come to an end. I think having it on Martin Luther King Day, having it on Inauguration Day, it kind of took some of the buzz
Oh, absolutely.
out of the game.
Yeah, because of both of those things, I totally forgot about it.
Right. Yeah.
Then again, I'm not a huge sports person, unlike a lot of other people. So
Well, that's fine. So anyway, watched that last night, and congratulations to the Buckeyes. We shall see. Won't be long until catchers and a combination of a catcher and a pitcher is a catcher. Pitchers and
I thought
catchers.
never mind. I'm not.
are going to report next month, and so I got Brewers baseball to look forward to as well. And of course, NFL Final Four as well this weekend. So, by the way, Sister Heather says, yes, we were down for those watching yesterday. Zuck was ticked off at us, apparently, so he pulled our Facebook feed. But it's back today. So, yes, we're very happy about that. We're back on Facebook, so all of those who stream us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, formerly known as, now is X, formerly as Twitter. We're back on there, so glad to have you along with us. Big show today at 12:30 or shortly thereafter. Our friend Luke Mathers, Civic Media's own Luke Mathers is in with a Tuesday Tangent with Lukester. We'll kind of look at news, sports, see what's grinding his gears as well. And also a shout out to our ongoing contributor, our videographer, our on-site producer, Mr. Chris Geezy, who is celebrating a birthday today.
Happy birthday.
I texted him this morning. He was very ho-hum about it. Oh, another day. I said, come on now. Got to celebrate the birthday. We appreciate everything Mr. Geezy does for us. So
Yes.
Happy birthday, Chris, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Well, it was quite a day yesterday for Donald Trump's inauguration day. It wasn't just the inauguration. Lots of headlines to pick from today. Now, we could talk about the fact that Trump came out and ordered the Justice Department not to enforce the TikTok ban, taking credit for, quote unquote, saving TikTok at least for 90 days. You would think he could probably come to a deal when the owner of TikTok, or the CEO of TikTok, was sitting behind him yesterday at the inauguration on the dais, fresh in from China. Guess who is sitting next to him? Tulsi Gabbard. In a bit of irony. Not that they're trading secrets or anything like that, right?
No.
Not that they're trading secrets. Also, Donald Trump announcing yesterday he plans to enforce the 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada beginning on February 1st. So make sure you get your Canadian maple syrup, avocados, tomatoes, because, those keep well. So make sure you get those. Also decided to put out an executive order yesterday. Trump did, ending birthright citizenship, which seems to be a bit of a sticky point because that's a constitutional right. but he did it anyway. So we there are other things. It's kind of where do you start, right? But again, and we're not going to spend every single day going through all of these things. We're just not. But I am going to try to help us understand why some of these things are important to the state of Wisconsin. And that's where I want to begin today. Because late yesterday afternoon, Donald Trump signed paperwork, executive orders, pardons for over 1,500 people who had been convicted and or pled guilty to their actions on January 6th. Here was President Trump yesterday signing the order.
It's relating on January 6th, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people, sir.
So this is January 6th. These are the hostages. Approximately 1,500 for a pardon.
Yes.
Full pardon.
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon.
And now
We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research. Nice to see you again.
he is signing the document in his big, bold signature with a big marker.
So this is a big one. Anything you want to explain about this? We hope they get them. We hope they come out tonight, frankly. If you're expecting it.
Hope they come out tonight, frankly, Donald Trump said. This was not a case-by-case basis, as so many Republicans said it would be during the campaign. These were full pardons for 1,500 folks who assaulted police officers. Many, not all. There's this guy. The Albuquerque head of Kingsport, Tennessee, was sentenced to 90 months in prison. Remember this guy? He used a stolen riot shield from police to attack police officers in between a door. He was set free last night. Remember this guy? Here's the audio that was going on January 6th. Here it is. Remember this guy? Using a stolen shield from a police officer to assault a police officer, crushing him in the door.
I know for me, whenever I hear this audio, I know exactly what video it is.
Yes. All right, that's enough of that. That guy was set free last night. So how does this relate directly to Wisconsin? We talked about this. Well, we talked about it over 2 years ago in 2023 when we were still at the old headquarters when it happened. A Wisconsinite was one of the instigators of this, not beyond the instigator. He pled guilty to using bear spray on a police officer. And then a couple of weeks ago, Brad Schimmel, remember him? Former Wisconsin Attorney General, who now is running, now he's a judge down at Waukesha. Former Governor Walker appointed to a judgeship. That was his little plum. And now he went on right-wing radio host Vicki McKenna's show on iHeartRadio here a couple Thursdays ago and was complaining that the January 6th defendants, quote, never got a fair shot in court and accused Democrats of, quote, abusing the court system for political gain. This is a story in the Wisconsin Examiner by Ruth Conniff from January 6, 2025. Here is Brad Schimmel on Vicki McKenna from a couple of weeks ago.
The same thing for these January 6 defendants who were all prosecuted in the Washington, D.C. district, which is overwhelmingly liberal. This part of the manipulation is to go to districts like that. They would never take their prosecution in a district where you had a fair shot as a defendant.
Brad Schimmel, Judge Brad Schimmel, who wants to be the next Supreme Court justice, saying that he does not believe justice was served when putting police attackers behind bars. What does Glenn Grothman have to say about it? We'll play you the cut in its entirety. Don't go anywhere. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on Civic Media.
Real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Equability offers custom-tailored clothing for those with dexterity or mobility challenges. Plus, first-time shoppers get 10% off. Use code CIVIC10 at checkout. Visit equability.co, equuability.co to make your clothes easier to wear today.
Here at the Aaron Weber Group, we love to find hidden gems that aren't known or haven't been on the market for decades, and there's excitement around it. This new year, make your resolution about finding that perfect gem of a home. The Aaron Weber Group can do it. After all, even the word resolution has solution in it, and we're driven to find the perfect solution for you. Don't assume others can do it, and I'm pretty sure you know how that word breaks down. The Aaron Weber Group, powered by Compass at MoveToMadison.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going.
Wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is 21 now past the hour of 12 noon all across the state of Wisconsin. All 11 stations across Wisconsin in all of the largest media markets. Glad to be here with you on a Tuesday talking about this story in Washington and how it directly affects Wisconsin. Donald Trump pardoning over 1,500 convicted felons last night. According to Scott McFarland, who has followed this for CBS like nobody else, approximately 600 of the 1,600 January 6 defendants were accused and convicted of assaulting police officers. I've said before in this program, as a former member of a city council who chaired the Public Safety Commission, which oversaw police and fire, you will find no bigger fan, respecter of people in law enforcement and our public services than me. And yes, like any vocation, radio announcers, teachers, business people, law enforcement is going to have a couple of bad apples. But by and large, the men and women who put on the uniform and the shield, who run into danger every day for us, have my utmost respect. Have family members who serve in law enforcement. Very proud of them. And the fact that this guy Trump last night let these people out is astounding. Remember the QAnon shaman, the guy who put on the Fred Flintstone Grand Poobah hat and painted his face red, white, and blue and found his way into the Senate chamber? He tweeted this out last night. Jake Angeli Chansley is his real name. Quote, "I just got the news from my lawyer. I got a pardon, baby. Thank you, President Trump. Now I'm going to buy some mother blanking guns." Unquote.
Wow.
And Brad Schimmel, Judge Schimmel, who wants to be your next Supreme Court justice, is on their side. Says they got a raw deal. We played you the cut. We're going to play you now. This is Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman who I've known for years as a former Republican who left the party in 2011 myself. We interviewed him this past summer in Milwaukee at the Republican National Convention. I want to give you the full thing. Clearly, there are some things that I disagree with that Congressman Grothman says here, but I want to give you the full cut so nobody says, well, you chopped it up to make Glenn look bad. No, here is Glenn Grothman. We finally get to the point at the end of this clip where he tells us specifically whether or not he supports what Donald Trump did last night.
I mean, you're a law and order guy. You're a back the blue guy. I mean, you got people, whether you say it was an insurrection or whatever you want to call it on January 6th, there were people who attacked law enforcement who were found guilty by their peers. In some places pled guilty. You're an attorney. You have a law degree. Those people are served in jail. Do you agree that they're American heroes and ought to be pardoned?
I don't think they're American heroes, but I think it's, I think what happened that day, the significance of it, can be exaggerated, and I don't think Donald Trump encouraged it. We know that Donald Trump actually
should they be pardoned, though?
Depends on the individual, on a case-by-case basis. I mean, you are more of an expert on it than me because I don't think it was a defining moment at all. But when you see the videos and you see people being led in the building by law enforcement, right? That was going on. And I don't, nobody got inside the building, but I knew people who were in Washington that day. If you see law enforcement waving people by, come into the Capitol, and now we have you on video taking pictures, you know, in Statutory Hall, and they leave and they don't touch anybody and just obey what the police told them to, well,
but the people who are on camera who are attacking...
Absolutely, but nobody's talking about pardoning them as far as I know.
Trump has said he wants to pardon all of them.
I would be surprised if that happens.
Glenn Grothman, Republican congressman from Wisconsin this past summer. The audio there was a little shaky. That's on me. You know, when I don't have a legit producer. When Todd tries to do audio on its own, you got to have a professional like Zommers or Geezy. So that's on me. But I wanted to give you that full clip. Now, look, he started talking about law enforcement officers who, quote unquote, wave people in. There are law enforcement officers on camera that day who, for people's own safety, they were basically saying, look, don't crush each other. Come over here. All right. So I certainly disagree with that part of what Glenn said. But the point is, even conservative MAGA Republican Glenn Grothman said absolutely that people who assaulted police officers and were caught on tape through evidence beyond a shadow of a doubt should be in jail. But you heard him say, when I pushed, well, I don't think that Trump's going to let him out. I don't think that's going to happen. That was the direct quote. And this is what we heard from Republican leaders to voters. And look, I get it. Voters said, look, I trust this guy. He's not going to lie to me. But now we find out that, in fact, what Donald Trump said he was going to do during the campaign, he meant. And Brad Schimmel, who says he backs the blue, he has TV ads up right now. All of these sheriffs, people, law enforcement, wearing their uniform, which, by the way, technically, if they show the uniform where they're from, that's breaking the law itself. Just FYI. You're not supposed to do that for political ads. Brad Schimmel surrounding himself images of cops and law enforcement tough on crime. But when it comes to actually supporting the prosecution of people who attacked law enforcement, Brad Schimmel's a fraud and soft on crime. He said it in his own words. We've played the cut. Go to WisconsinExaminer.com from January 6, 2025. The whole story there by Ruth Cutoff. This is what we're talking about here, folks, when we say pursue the truth wherever it may lead. The truth is Brad Schimmel is trying to pull the wool over the eyes of voters, and I don't think that people are stupid. I think that they'll see through it. Because if you say that you believe in something, your actions speak louder than words. We're going to hear a lot of words over the next 4 years. look at people's actions. And when it comes to actions, Brad Schimmel falls way short on backing the blue. Gonna come back, take your phone calls, Luke Mathers on the other side, and also see what little Marco, as Donald Trump calls him, Marco Rubio said on CBS this morning about this. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX. Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
Markets are robust on a post-inauguration Tuesday. I'm Charity Seebecker for the Midwest Farm Report, and John Heimberg, market advisor with Total Farm Marketing in West Bend, says one area of optimism in the trading markets right now is the soybean markets.
Well, I think we got some fuel in the market here from the soybean market on the overnight session, and some of that tied to possibly what happened with the
I want to be able to write an ampersand, but the problem is it's now baked into my head to write a treble clef, and it's so similar that I feel like if I learn how to write an ampersand, I'm going to mix them up and then write that on a staff when writing music instead of a treble clef.
But really, that soybean market though is kind of still focusing on South American weather.
That's John
To answer your
Heimberg,
question, Dave,
market
no.
advisor with Total Farm Marketing in West Bend, joining us. I'll have a look at your midday commodity markets right after
Not yet.
this.
Just stop and listen to these great details on our next farm tour. Hi, everybody. I'm PM Yankee, inviting you to join me July 26th through August 4th as we head to the Canadian Rockies, Vancouver, Victoria, as well as agricultural highlights. We'll start in Calgary and visit their expansive Living History Museum. Then it's off to Banff for a guided tour and meet a Mountie. Next, we board a Via Rail train for phenomenal views of the Canadian Rockies. Once we arrive in Vancouver, we'll enjoy award-winning wines at Lulu Island Winery and also take a ferry to Vancouver Island for a stroll through Buchart Gardens. We'll learn about farming life on the island during fascinating visits to a bison ranch and a dairy farm. Go to holidayvacations.com, enter keyword Pam to get a brochure or watch a travel show. Again, July 26th through August 4th, join me for our next tour of the Canadian Rockies.
I'm Charity Seebecker for the Midwest Farm Report with a look at your midday commodity markets on January 21st. From Chicago, cash corn is trading at $4.88. That is up 3 3/4. December new crop corn is trading at $4.58 3/4. That is up 2 3/4. March beans are trading at $10.57 1/4. That is up 23
Look, people in the
1/4.
stream.
And
Look
new
who's
crop
joined us
beans
here in
are
studio.
trading at
Well, they can't see 'em.
10.42
Oh,
3/4.
we're going to in a
and
second.
that is
Look at
up
that. Well, there he
15
is.
cents.
The lovely and
March
talented
cash
Luke
wheat
Mathers.
is
It is
trading
Buck's
at
hat today.
$5.57 3/4. That is up 19 cents. In July, new crop wheat
We
is
should check in on
trading
the
at
Bucks in today's segment.
$5.78 1/4, and that is up 17 3/4. On the dairy side of things, February Class 3 milk contract is trading at $19.90 a hundredweight. That is down
How's Doc
28
Rivers doing?
cents. And March Class 3 milk contract is trading at
He's
$19.70
still
a
employed, as
hundredweight,
far as I know,
and
right?
that is down 24 cents.
Yeah?
For the Midwest Farm
Yeah, I
Report,
think
I'm
it's-
Charity Seebecker.
Perfect
This is your
tangent
local
that I can
Civic
segue
Media
from
radio
the,
station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
Perfect segue to tangent from the national championship to the Bucks.
Oh, very good. Fantastic.
I got it.
All right. Look at that. See? Comes prepared, ladies and gentlemen. He's set to go.
Overnight, we will climb above zero by early tomorrow morning. And light snow moves in late, less than an inch expected. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. It's 7 below zero at our studios.
Valentine's Day is almost here. Grab an Edible Arrangements delicious fruit bouquet with same-day delivery. Call
I heard edible, I thought.
608-441-3535.
Wouldn't that be great if part of the
Visit
edible fruit bouquet
edible.com.
was in fact an
Use promo
edible?
code DANE20 for 20% off. Make this Valentine's Day unforgettable.
Matt and Air on Air.
Stephen Aronson from Wisconsin Knitwear based in Milwaukee, knithats.com. Our own Beyond the Cheese hats.
There you go.
That
in the
is-
green and gold.
That is so awesome.
Very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. My pleasure. I was so excited you called. And
You are
within the day,
rock we will be giving some of these away.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the next couple of weeks.
Matt Nair on air, weekdays at 11 on 92.7 WMDX and the Civic
30
Media
seconds.
Fear you may be missing out? We're always streaming on TuneIn and the Civic Media app. Enjoy listening live or catch up by finding the podcast at civicmedia.us.
Civic Media Radio Network, 34 now past the hour of 12 noon on this Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, all across the state of Wisconsin. 11 stations covering all major media markets. If you want to get your message out, no better place to put the word than here at Civic Media. And speaking of Civic Media, direct from corporate headquarters right down the hall, Civic Media's own Luke Mathers for another edition of Tuesday Tangents with Lukester. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing well, Todd. How are you doing?
Well, you know, the sun is out. I thought about bringing a bottle in today, but I thought, no, it's too early in the show. But no. By the way, Dave, listening in New Berlin, always appreciate him. He has an idea for a new segment title. He wants us to call it, Here's What Matters to Luke Mathers.
Sounds too uptight for me.
Too uptight?
Yeah, it feels like the way I just heard Dan Rather a little bit while you did it just there.
Really?
And I like keeping it loose with the tangents.
To me, I feel like the little slant rhyme, this should be the title of a Dr. Seuss book.
Okay.
Here's what matters to Luke Mathers.
Yeah. All right, well, Dave, as they say, we'll take that into consideration. But we appreciate the thought. Look, busy day on the inauguration. We've been talking about in Wisconsin terms today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was so much. I've overused it myself. Fire hose of information, but it is. It's just a lot of things. And again, the more we can kind of say, okay, well, how does this really affect Wisconsin? And for me, this pardoning of over 1,500 convicted felons last night from January 6th by Donald Trump, and in terms of Wisconsin, people like this guy in Pulaski, Riley Casper, that pleaded guilty back in 2023. And this is a guy who used pepper spray on police officers.
And bear spray.
Bragged about it.
He said on his Facebook page of this January 6th Capitol riot, this is his own words, quote, I pepper sprayed 3 cops so badly they got undressed and went home. Fought cops all day, unquote. And now you got a guy in Brad Schimmel, Judge Schimmel of Waukesha, former Attorney Attorney General of Wisconsin, now running for Wisconsin State Supreme Court, who is, surrounds himself in TV ads, law enforcement, tough on crime. As a former Republican who left the party in 2011, I find it more than rich that this guy who wants to run on the old back the blue has gone on right-wing radio and said that he supports Trump's decision and thinks that some of these people got a raw deal, including those that attacked police officers, and is okay with it. That seems to me that something Wisconsin voters should know before they go to the polls in April.
Yeah, for the last 4 years, Todd, this has been one of those aspects where the Republican Party, who leading up and throughout the civil unrest that we saw throughout 2020, were very staunch in all lives matter, back the blue, back the badge, all of those things, until the events that took place on January 6, 2021 at the U.S. Capitol. Then all of a sudden, there was a convergence of two different aspects that the MAGA Republican Party and the old Republican Party, for lack of better terminology, I don't know how else you'd want to refer to it, intersected. Because it was a mob of people that were upset because they were fueled lies over about a 2.5-month period from the 2020 election until that day on January 6th that the election was stolen from them. Every single court case that went before state courts here in Wisconsin, federal courts around the country, showed 60 plus times that there was no widespread election fraud. The election was not stolen. Donald Trump lost. Joe Biden was the president-elect and to be sworn in next president, the 46th president of the United States. And Donald Trump fomented an insurrection and had his supporters go and attack police officers and try to use political violence to stop the peaceful transfer of power with the certification of the 2020 election back on January 6, 2021. And so those two ideas drastically differ. You can't back the blue and also support what happened that day. But we've seen kind of this retconning over the last 4 years of, oh no, it wasn't a violent protest. They were tourists. You saw that as the reaction for some of our lawmakers here in Wisconsin. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson had that. Oh, I mostly saw a peaceful protest. People were staying within the velvet ropes. And over the last 4 years, the downplaying and the disregarding of what happened to law enforcement officials on that day has been downplayed, where now you see it's kind of a litmus test. People that are running for office, even here for the state Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, have to say things like that. They have to downplay that political violence that occurred at the Capitol, but then also will come out and seek the endorsements and receive the endorsements of law enforcement groups around the state of Wisconsin.
And speaking of that, by the way, the big police association that backed Trump was asked this morning for their thoughts on what Trump did at these pardons, and they said no comment. So that's interesting. And also the fact we played before the break, Republican Congressman from Wisconsin, Glenn Grothman, in our interview with him last summer in Milwaukee at the RNC, said, quote, absolutely, unquote, that people who attack police officers should be prosecuted and be in jail. So it seems that Grothman and Schimmel are a little bit of odds here. I want to take this quick cut just to your point, Luke, that what people are doing here. Remember, Marco Rubio was called, quote, Little Marco. He had little hands. It was a euphemism for other things during the 2016 election. And then, of course, he went to Rubio, bended a knee and kissed the ring and became a Trumper. And now he got rewarded with the Secretary of Stateship, which he got sworn into earlier today. Here was Marco Rubio this morning on CBS This Morning with Gayle King, pressing him on his thoughts about J6 and what he said then and what happens now.
I hear you, but in February 2021, even you issued a statement and you said the images of the attack stirred up anger in you. The nation was embarrassed in the eyes of the world by our own citizens. How do you personally reconcile those feelings with the pardons that he did yesterday? I understand you have work to do in the job as far as there are many things, but on this particular issue, I'm curious about what you're thinking.
Yeah, well, what I'm thinking is that I used to be a United States Senator until midnight last night, and now I'm about to be sworn in as the Secretary of State of the United States. And that's what I'm thinking is I work for Donald J. Trump, the new president of the United States, the 47th president, who has a clear mandate to reorient our foreign policy to one that once again puts America and our interests at the center. And that's what I'm going to focus on, 100%.
Marco Rubio, now Secretary of State of the United States, refusing to answer the question about his past comments on January 6th. And I think, Luke, for me, the disturbing quote there was, I work for Donald Trump. Last time I checked, everyone in the federal government works for the taxpayers and the citizens of the United States.
Yeah, but there's that old adage where I serve at the pleasure of the president, and that used to mean that I think that phrase used to mean a whole lot more now than it does now. I think it is more than ever before. These individuals that are leading up the largest departments of our federal government do serve to the loyalty of not the president as an office, not as the chief executive, but in this instance, one man, and that man's ego.
Well, and our friend and colleague Jay Matt Nera on air this morning, the great program that precedes ours, 10 until noon. She and Greg talked about this a little bit this morning, that the first term, Donald Trump was surrounded by what you kind of, I'll use the term more traditional, the old Senate Republicans, the party that I grew up in and left in 2011, who said, yeah, Mr. President, you can't actually shoot Americans in the knees during a peaceful protest. This time around, Trump has hardly anybody like that to tell him no. And I think that's a big concern. 855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to Mark in Perdensac. Mark, thanks for holding. If you could keep it brief, please, sir. What say you?
Yeah, I wonder what Glenn Grothman would say today. He would probably just recant what he said about people should be in jail and be on his knees, worshiping before performing obeisance before Donald Trump, and that it's what we're going to hear. I mean, for Brad Schimmel to be saying this stuff about that kind of thing, he's just unqualified to be even a county even judge that he is right now. I mean, it is just, and I'd say that to his face. I mean, that what happens when one of these MAGAs, gets in somebody's face and now commits a crime? These guys who got released that because their family turned them in, and now they might actually attack their family members that turned them in. What's going to happen then? Are these guys that just got released, would they be subject to civil suits if these law enforcement officers decided to sue them civilly rather than criminally, because they've actually admitted now, yeah, I committed that crime, and you civilly sue them for assault?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a possibility. Thanks for the call, Mark. Luke?
I haven't read the full. The aspect of a presidential pardon is pretty sweeping, and depending on how it was written, I did not read all the details of the executive orders and the pardons that were signed last night. There was a firestorm of them, for lack of a better term.
There was a lot of stuff going on.
I was going to say, I think you're right. Well, and I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to understand the nuances between the language of how sweeping a pardon is. I don't know if these individuals kind of have a green light to do whatever they want now. Like, I don't know how sweeping it is. And so, Mark, I think those are valid concerns. I think it's going to be interesting to see what comes next. But yeah, it is the fact that you have lawmakers that are seemingly condoning the fact that leading up to it, it was all a lot of, oh no, of course, individuals that committed violence against law officials, law enforcement officers, they should not be pardoned. J.D. Vance, the now vice president, as recently as the last couple weeks or so, Pam Bondi, the pick for the Attorney General of the United States, in her confirmation hearings last week, said, oh, well, I'm not going to really get too into it, but yeah, I don't think anybody committing violence against police officers should receive a pardon. All of those individuals did, though. So there's a lot of hemming and hawing, and that's not going to be what happens. But then we see in one of his first actions, first 12 hours of being back at the White House, back in the Oval Office, President Trump signing those sweeping pardons.
To your point, this is what Trump said throughout the majority of the campaign, over and over again.
Yes.
They're heroes, they're hostages, and we're going to take care of it on day one.
His rallies would start with January 6th convicted individuals singing the national anthem. That's how he started his political rallies.
So some of the rhetoric we hear from, it's all rhetoric. It's just words. He doesn't really mean that stuff. Well, as it turns out, he does. 855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to Louise on WMDX here in Madison. Louise, thanks for calling. What's to you? Hello?
Oh, is this for Louise?
Yep, go ahead.
Is this for Louise?
It is.
Oh, hi, yeah. Hey, after watching all this morning, the coverage on the Proud Boys and stuff, I just realized, and I shouldn't be shocked, but this is Trump's new personal militia.
Yeah.
And they are pissed.
Yeah.
And, just going back to, prior to January 6th, you would remember there were months and months and months of rhetoric saying, if I don't win, it's rigged. And, he was grooming those people for months and months. And anybody that pays attention realizes that. And he's grooming them now.
Yeah, I think that's a great, thank you, Louise, for the call on MDX here in Madison. That's a great point, Luke, that what he's essentially, the argument at least can be made, is what Trump is signaling here is to militias, to individual people around the country, when he gets up and gives speeches and he says things like, wouldn't it be really terrible if something happened to them? Oh, I'm just joking. It's kind of giving license to these folks to, hey, go out, as he said to Bibi Netanyahu during the campaign about Gaza, do whatever the hell you want. In Ukraine, both, to Putin. Do whatever the hell you want.
Well, and we saw on the debate stage where Donald Trump said to the Proud Boys and invoked the Proud Boys by name, saying, stand back, but stand by. Stand back and stand by.
Yeah.
Like, that has been his communication method in talking to individuals that are willing to commit political violence in the quote unquote coded, but not so coded. Like, it's blatant. It's all out there in the open. And then the coverage of that being, oh, well, you can't take it seriously. We now know that there are little to no consequences for individuals that commit political violence in Donald Trump's name, at least for the next 4 years while he occupies the Oval Office. Because anybody that commits political violence and then is subject to the rule of law and the consequences of that violence, they can receive unconditional pardons from the president now that he's back at the White House.
Stay tuned. We're going to fit another 15 minutes into 7 on the other side. We can do it. Your calls as well, 855-752-4842. And what's grinding Lukester's gears is the Allbaugh Show for a Tuesday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Looking to turn your valuables into cash this Valentine's Day? Gordy's Midwest Fine Jewelry and Coins is here for you since 1985. Look for the big green awning on the corner of 4701 Monona Drive. Gordy buys your coins, gold, silver, watches, stamps, silver dollars, and paper currency. They buy, sell, trade, and repair, offering top
But the
dollar
question
and
is,
paying
do they
cash
buy
for gold. Stop by today and
Millennium
experience the
Bitcoins,
difference.
whatever the heck.
Gordy's Midwest Fine Jewelry and Coins. Call 608-221-4242.
Maybe if it's a coin and on it has her with the hat keeping Trump from kissing her. Then
Yes,
maybe.
yeah.
So we're showcasing their work.
They had the on
alongside our
CBS
talented
before they had the
local
designer who made
artists,
that.
Ignite artists, the latest techniques.
I could have told you that Jimmy Fallon was wearing the hat in like a bit, and I'm like, that's an aspect made for late night television.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Williamson Street and O'Dana Road, plus IgniteGlassandGifts.com. Do your eyes a favor and see this stuff.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. In the first week of the new session of the Wisconsin State Legislature, Republicans fast-tracked a measure that would put a question on the ballot in the upcoming spring election that would enshrine voter ID in the state constitution. Two things on this. First, it is telling that Republicans made this their very first order of business. Senate Democratic leader
Did you also
Dianne
see what
Hasselbein responded
Tom
to this,
Madison
saying
said?
It's not cost of living or health
yeah,
care
I saw that.
or gun violence
yeah.
that Republicans wanted to focus on, but a constitutional
I'm not
amendment.
100%
telling, isn't it?
There's an issue there, but I don't know all the details, so I just don't want to go down that road.
His parents were not citizens when he was born here.
By having this on the spring
But,
election
yeah.
ballot, they're betting
That
it will make it
very
more
well
likely
may be
that
true. I
people
just
who
don't know
showed
that
up
for
to
a
vote
fact.
for
I
Donald
can't
Trump
defend
in
it
November
firsthand. So.
will be
Wikipedia
heading
says
to
it,
the
but
polls
still,
to help
yeah.
elect right-wing candidate Brad Schimmel to the Wisconsin Supreme.
Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. 9 minutes before the hour of 1 o'clock. Hour number 2, a What's Worse Sports Day in regards to shopping. Not going to want to miss that. But first of all, going to finish up here with our friend and colleague, Luke Mathers, for a Tuesday tangent with Lukester. Got to go quickly. Time always runs short. Talking about the pardons that Donald Trump signed last night. Amongst them, 600 people who were accused and convicted of assaulting police officers, and conservative candidate for Wisconsin Supreme Court Brad Schimmel essentially says, I'm cool with that. Said the J6 folks got a raw deal. 855-752-4842. Let's go quickly to Rick, listening on WAUK Milwaukee from Waukesha. Rick, what say you? Quickly, please.
Hey, I believe that clip that was played of the president doing that pardon, I think that was the center of a larger, big discussion.
About what?
About the numbers and about the pardon. You know, when he said that's 1,500.
Yep.
That's 1,500. Well, 15's my lucky number.
Okay. There you go. Appreciate it, Rick. Thank you so very, very much. Luke, I want to turn a page just for a quick second, because you are a Renaissance man. You know you know a lot of things going on. First of all, did you watch the big national championship game last night?
I did. I was hoping for more of a game out of it. They
Me too.
kind of the fourth quarter. I turned it off in the middle. I was watching something else, and then I finished watching that. And the fourth quarter was on, and it took a very long time.
It did.
It was a long game.
I mean,
a lot of
Notre
ads.
Dame tried to make a comeback at in the fourth quarter, kind of sort of did, but OSU was never really threatened.
And then that's where I caught the last touchdown that Notre Dame had, and then when Ohio State got the football back and started marching back down the field, you could kind of tell it was going to be over at that point.
But Big Ten gets back-to-back national championships. So much for the SEC.
It was the SEC refs. I
Right?
did note that during the coin toss where he's like, we're here from the SEC. And I was like, interesting.
We're here from SEC and we're not happy. Milwaukee and Wisconsin fans should be happy, Lukester. Bucks, give us an update. You're wearing the old Bucks hat today.
Yeah, well, I think it's important, kind of relating these two, to not have the immediate knee-jerk reaction that sometimes we have as fans. I want to point out that Ryan Day, coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, the knee-jerk reaction when the Buckeyes lost to the Michigan Wolverines earlier in the season was fire Ryan Day.
Yes.
Do you think that was a good idea, Ohio State fans?
That was a hot take.
It was a hot, terrible take.
Yes.
It reminds me again. I mean, the Bucks were in good shape last season, and then Adrian Griffin got fired, and the Bucks came, unlike Ohio State, beholden to those demands to make a change at the coaching side. And then we saw the turmoil that led to the in-season coaching changing and then the sputtering out also due to injuries. But the Bucks early out of the playoff picture last year. And I think it's just so important. You don't have to have one, like, just because there is some individuals out there that feel the need to feed the content beast and have immediate knee-jerk reactions like fire Coach X when something doesn't go the way. Winning is really, really hard to do. And I think that every Ohio State fan that's celebrating their national championship from last night needs to really take a look in the mirror and be like, was I on the fire, Ryan Day?
To your point, Ryan Day, prior to going into this season, he had guided Ohio State to a 56-8 record. And they want to fire the guy because he lost, quote unquote, the game. I saw an interview right after that. Somebody asked the fan, said, "Well, what if Ohio State would go on to win the national championship this year?" And the guy thought about it, and he said, "There'd be an asterisk." Like, we won a national championship, but we didn't beat Michigan.
Oh, see, that's wild. So to me, just try to take a second and pause before you share some of these hot takes. Fine to just yell at your computer or your TV or anything like that, but before you put them out there into the world, onto the internet, stuff like that, those things are forever. So they exist for every Ohio State fan that shared them earlier in the season. But getting back to the Bucks, Doc Rivers, Giannis, Dame, Chris is getting healthy. Things are looking good. I think that there's a lot of wins that still can be put together this part of the season. They can get back. They're kind of middle of the pack right now in the Eastern Conference. And I feel in good shape, though. I feel overall they're in good shape.
Very quickly, Wisconsin men's basketball, speaking of being on a roll, they're continuing their out west trip. Got a big win over USC earlier over the weekend and take on UCLA. In Spanish, they say UCLA. University of California. Yeah, that's what they say, UCLA. 7:30 broadcast start tonight in Amory, Wisconsin Rapids, Racine, Kenosha, and Richland Center. If you're not in one of those communities, you can hear the game on the Civic Media app for free. Just download it and go to one of those stations at 7:30. Wisconsin taking on UCLA. So there you go.
Yeah, and the Badgers, they start so hot, and then they let teams catch up. The end of the first half, start of the second half, but they were much better about closing the game over the weekend against USC. Ohio State last week got a little too close for comfort. Yeah.
I was there. It was tight. But hey, 7-game win streak. They're up to number 20, I believe, in the poll. We've left you all of 1 minute. Do you have a grinding your gears?
Well,
Luke, what's grinding your gears?
We
Therapy.
got 3 weeks until pitchers and catchers report as well. So the Brewers season right around the corner. But what's grinding my gears, and this is obvious, I'll have to come back and just
really get into it.
Yeah. But the billionaire's presence.
Oh yeah.
At the inauguration yesterday is just really like a republic if you can keep it, and having 6 or 7 billionaires sitting on the dais, whatever.
Whatever. The stage.
The stage. Before the cabinet. Before pretty much like anybody else. it was really, really just sticking in my craw yesterday, and we're the people, not we the billionaires, and just, jeez, we got to address
So
that.
you say the TikTok CEO and Tulsi Gabbard stay next to each other? Probably not the best idea. No. Luke Mathers, always a great idea to hear from him. We appreciate you, Luke. Have a great day. Be back in hour 2 after this.
Real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Look at you, Luke.
John Peterson and Gordy Young.
On our next show, Mike McKay will explain why writing a book is as easy as baking a cake.
It's all in the
I'm not sure what that means.
AI.
Join us.
The John and Gordy Show.
Four of those losses
Weekday
were
mornings,
to
6 till 8.
he couldn't even. Tony couldn't even put the M in Michigan. Wow, he is really. Tony, you really are a true blue fan.
That's out there. You were at the premiere.
Yeah, they had the Green and Gold movie, which is a story about a dairy farmer.
In case you couldn't hear that, because you probably couldn't, Tony. Luke said that for an Ohio State fan, you live awfully close to Michigan.
Event, it was when a company revealed a new herbicide.
Weekday mornings, 6 till 8 on 92.7 WMDX and the Civic Media app. Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us. This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A Civic Media station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Marco Rubio was sworn into office today as Secretary of State. After taking the oath, Rubio reiterated his America First pledge as the nation's top diplomat.
Everything we do must be justified by the answer to one of three questions. Does it make us stronger? Does it make us safer? And does it make us more prosperous? If it doesn't do one of those three things, we will not do it.
Rubio says his top priority is the Gaza ceasefire deal and peace in the Middle East, along with helping end the war in Ukraine. President Trump has issued a record number of executive actions so far after taking office, including declaring a national emergency at the southern border and pardoning some 1,500 defendants in the January 6th attacks on the U.S. Capitol. He also signed a directive to end birthright citizenship. Attorneys general from 18 states, along with the District of Columbia and the city of San Francisco, filing a lawsuit claiming the order is unconstitutional for the birthright limit. This is ABC News.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Well, our cold weather warning has expired, but it is still crazy cold out there. The warning from the National Weather Service officially expired at noon. Overnight temperatures were in the negative teens, and they tracked wind chills of negative 35 degrees. Don't be outside if you don't have to be. Frostbite and hypothermia are big risks in temperatures this low. Luckily, things will start to warm up tomorrow. We even have a chance for a little snow. Most school districts ended up calling off school today because even just waiting outside for the bus could be dangerous when it's this cold. That means their 3-day weekend for Martin Luther King Jr. Day has now turned into a 4-day weekend. And 11 Wisconsinites are among more than 1,000 getting pardoned for the January 6th insurrection. President Donald Trump issued the order his first day in office for nearly 1,600 people who were part of the attack on the Capitol. He pardoned nearly 1,600 people who were part of the attack on the Capitol that left 5 dead within about a day and 4 Capitol police officers dead from suicide in the following weeks and months. The people being pardoned were charged with federal misdemeanors and felonies like obstructing law enforcement, unlawful entry, and disorderly conduct. Of the 11 Wisconsinites pardoned, 9 of them had pleaded guilty. And a sweet tribute to Bob Uecker this week. Here's Stuart J. Waddles.
The front row might be a good place to sit in remembrance of Bob Uecker, the iconic voice of the Milwaukee Brewers for over 5 decades. Marcus Theaters across Wisconsin will be showing Major League Friday. The screening pays tribute to Uecker's performance in the 1989 comedy, which also starred Charlie Sheen. A partial donation of ticket sales will go to the Milwaukee Brewers Foundation. The memorial outside the ballpark continues to grow. There's no word yet about a Uecker memorial service.
If you'd like to go, the Marcus Theater here in Madison is on the west side. It's Point Cinema on Big Sky Drive. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
Badgers basketball tonight. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Men's college basketball, the Wisconsin Badgers West Coast trip continues when they play at UCLA tonight. The Badgers now ranked 18th in the nation. Marquette now 10th ranked after losing to Xavier over the weekend. They're on the road tonight against Seton Hall. NFL, the Chicago Bears have hired Ben Johnson as their new head coach. The 38-year-old Johnson has been an assistant with the Lions for the past 6 seasons and has served as offensive coordinator there the past 3. And would the Packers trade for a veteran player on the backside of his career to help out with their pass rush? Packers GM Brian Gutekunst.
I don't particularly want to see somebody on the backside of their career. I don't think that's something I'd be particularly interested in. I mean, how old was Reggie White when Ron signed him? I mean, he was in his 30s, I believe, but he wasn't on the backside of his career by any means, So I think it just depends on the player and what you think he has in front of him.
Reggie White was 32 when they signed him. The Raiders' Max Crosby is 27. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Dangerously cold, with wind chills 30 to 20 below, warming up this afternoon to feeling 20 to 15 below. As temperatures climb throughout the evening and overnight, we will climb above zero by early tomorrow morning, and light snow moves in late, with less than an inch expected. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Currently, it's 5 below zero.
No more mold, no more damage, no more slipping and hurting. Make your ordinary bathroom extraordinary for only $99 per month. New shower, new door, new tub, new wall, new anti-slip technology. BCI Bath and Shower is made in America for the highest quality. First 50 callers save $1,500 on a never clear glass treated door. BCI Bath and Shower. Interest-free financing options. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115. 800-329-4115.
Hi, I'm Anthony Anderson. For the past 80 years, the United Negro College Fund has helped more than 500,000 students graduate from college and become leaders of our nation. Since its beginning in 1944, UNCF has made one truth known: a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Support UNCF as they continue supporting.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our outstanding producer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is 6 past the hour of 1 o'clock on Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, although a bit of a chilly one. Dangerously cold temperatures overnight in much of Wisconsin. Several school districts and universities either postponed or canceled classes. Most of those warnings expired about an hour ago, but that doesn't mean the temperatures are dramatically better. And if you're traveling across Wisconsin today, make sure the tank is full, the cell phone is charged, you have an extra blanket with you, some granola bars and water, just in case you get stranded, because it can get downright dangerous. Make sure, and I know we all like to be tough in Wisconsin, and we are, but not so tough that your skin can't freeze within a couple of minutes. The wind chills, Mr. Zommers. That's what really gets you.
Even aside from that, so I drive a Kia from 2014. It has the infamous Kia Boys issue, where if you drive a Kia or a Hyundai from a range of years that isn't like a luxury model, you can hack it and basically hotwire it with a jump drive super easily.
Thanks for telling us that.
So I have a steering wheel lock.
Oh, okay, very good.
Is why I mentioned that. And it has metal on it. And I touched it today without wearing gloves yet. And it hurt a lot because it was very cold. So,
I hope you didn't put your tongue on it or anything.
I did not.
All right, good. We don't want any injuries, you understand.
But
don't
no,
be
you're
like
like me. Wear your gloves.
Wear your gloves. That's great advice. Wear your gloves. Temperature is expected to moderate tomorrow, actually. It starts getting better, I think, in the 30s tomorrow across at least much of
believe so.
Wisconsin. So just bear with us. Bear with the weather as we're into January, but just be smart about it. Speaking of smart, we always appreciate Mr. Smart, Luke Mathers, stopping by for Tuesday Tangent. See, you feel better after spending 30 minutes with Lukester.
It's true.
So many thanks to him for all the calls as well. Happy birthday again to our friend and ongoing contributor, site producer, videographer, Chris Geezy, celebrating a birthday today. So once again, a shout out to him and all those celebrating today, as a matter of fact. Again, if you're a Wisconsin Badger fan like Todd, make sure you tune into the Civic Media app tonight. Or if you live in Amory, Wisconsin Rapids, Racine, Kenosha, and Richland Center, you can hear it locally on your local station over the air, broadcast radio. Nothing beats it. And if not, download the Civic Media app. You could do it for free on your Apple or Android device. Takes less than a minute. It is free. It's what Gail King at CBS calls a deal. Wisconsin at UCLA tonight. Broadcast starts at 7:30, game time around 8 o'clock. So just be aware of that. And Badgers on a big roll. So we're really proud to be a part of the Badger Radio Network, along with, Matt LePay and Brian Butch, a great team, bringing us the play-by-play tonight at 7:30 across the Civic Media Radio Network, Wisconsin at UCLA. Coming up a little bit here in a bit, and I think this got overlooked a little bit, by the way. A lot of people didn't see this Friday and over the weekend, understandably. Did you know that President Donald Trump launched his own cryptocurrency? Yes.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes. As a matter of fact, yes. But right now, let's see. Well, Jack's on the phone. All right, so hang on. We're going to do a What's Worse in a second. Hold the music. Hold the orchestra. Because Jack and Merrimack, I just love saying that, by the way. Jack and Merrimack is calling in. Jack, we were talking a little bit earlier in the national championship college game from last night. The Ohio State University defeating Notre Dame 34-23, and a lot of people at The Ohio State University wanted to fire Ryan Day after they lost to Michigan again earlier in the season. Jack, thanks for calling in. You wanted to say what about these the coaches?
Well, yeah, first of all, give you a little background. I am a former world-class athlete. I have one world championship in my event and one national championship and record also in my background.
Now, wait a minute. Let's stop right there. Stop right there. You've been called into this program for almost day one, and your modesty, your humility, you've never mentioned this. In what sport? Tell us, Jack.
Okay, I was a swimmer, and that's as far as I want to go at this point.
All right. Go ahead.
In any case, my point is that at that level of competition, and I found this out when I actually tried to qualify for the Olympics, and I had an Olympic qualifying time, but due to an injury, was unable to make the team. In any case, at that level of competition, my point is, any team or any individual on any given day can win. Mm-hmm. It just depends on who's up in a particular point in time, and to some extent, even the psychology of the coach at a particular time. Yeah. And in terms of coaching, I also coached a women's swimming team for a couple of years and brought them from I think it was seventh in the state that I was coaching in up to second place in 2 years. So coaching can make a big difference, but you also need talent. Mm-hmm. And I happened to walk in and I had some very talented women that I was lucky enough to have swimming for me, and I knew how to get the most out of them. Yeah. That's what good coaching does.
Hey, I appreciate the call, Jack, and thanks for sharing that with us. I did not know that, as Johnny Carson used to say. So thanks for sharing. You're absolutely right. Thanks, Jack. Really appreciate it. And it gives me a good opportunity. I forgot to do this yesterday. A shout out to all the good folks at Ithaca and Weston High School back in Southwest Wisconsin. I was back home over the weekend. My dad, Jim Allbaugh, was inducted into the Ithaca Weston Wrestling Hall of Fame. Speaking of coaches, was a coach at Ithaca for 5 years, then went on to coach at the university level, and then went back to high school at Shuttle High School and was an official as well. And, Dad did a lot for folks in his role as a coach, and very, very honored that the great folks of Ithaca Weston inducted him into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. And Jack is right. Coaches make a difference, but as my dad would tell you, Jack's right. It also is the player or whoever's playing for you, and also the families and the community and the administration. It isn't always just one person, but a coach can be an impetus into how you motivate people. So appreciate the call, Jack. Dave in New Berlin listening in, asking about our friend Chris Geezy. Saying, we have a Chris Geezy question. Say, how old is Chris Geezy? I grew up in Racine, and there was somebody named Chris Geezy that I went to school with. I can tell you, Dave, it is not, I'm not going to, I don't have permission to tell you how old the Chris Geezy I know is. He is not, I'm 55.
I was going to say,
Right.
if Chris Geezy is in his 50s, he looks damn good.
Well, he looks good anyway, but no, he is not anywhere near he is a generation younger. So it's same name, different person, but that's fine. All right, 14 minutes now past the hour of 1 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this.
What's worse? No prize money involved, nothing to give away per se, but you do get your opportunity to have your voice and your opinion heard across the entire state of Wisconsin. Civic Media broadcasting live every day, noon to 2 here across 11 stations in Wisconsin. Largest privately owned broadcast radio network in the state. So if you want to, I would like to tell people, well, here's your chance. Give us a call. The What's Worse category, and this is great because very timely indeed, as Mike Lucas says, because I think, especially when the weather gets cold, you think, well, I really don't want to go grocery shopping. It's too cold. I'll make do with what I have. Like, for instance, my milk ran out. Well, my 2% milk from Organic Valley Dairy, by the way. Make sure you buy Organic Valley. I don't get anything for saying that, but it's just practical, friendly advice. So I had a little, I don't drink whole milk usually, but we had a little over the holidays and I had a little left. I'm finishing that up. I made myself a hot chocolate with Organic Valley whole milk last night. But
That sounds delicious.
it was. But I need 2%. And so it was too cold. And so this is timely indeed. What's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? Grocery shopping or clothes shopping? What's worse? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. And we've talked about language, pronunciations, colloquialisms, as they say. And that brings up in this category as well, because being from Southwest Wisconsin, I'm often say, I put a SH in it. I say I'm going grocery shopping. And I know that's not, there's no SH in it. It's GROCY, grocery.
Grocery? I think that may be the first time I've pronounced it that way, even though I know it's the right way. Grocery is definitely what I've always said.
Thank you. I thank you, because I've always said grocery, but I know the correct way is grocery. It sounds weird to say that. So anyway, what's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? Grocery shopping or clothes shopping? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Julie, listening on WXCO, our great friends up there in Wausau. You can check out the Chad Holmes Show. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it 1,000 times. The two hardest working people in the Civic Media Radio Network are Chad Holmes in Wausau and Phil Nee in Richland Center.
I don't think you can really dispute that, honestly.
No. I mean, those two guys are getting up before the crack of dawn, hosting local radio shows. Then they're hosting talk shows. Then they might go back on the air and for music. And then they're going out in the afternoon and evening to call high school sporting events, and then getting up and doing it all over and doing that 6 days a week. So, I mean, you can listen to Chad Holmes locally on WXCO in Wausau every morning starting at 8 o'clock. But Julie says in Wausau, clothes shopping is worse. Everyone has to eat, but new clothing is optional. Unless you're shopping at a used clothes store, it is not earth-friendly and often ends up in the landfill. All right, very good. We'll have more of these when we come back. What's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. What's worse, straight ahead on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Real news and great
Linda
conversation.
in Madison.
92.7 WMDX.
This is only, I took in a lot of information yesterday.
Right.
It seems like he said he was, because I know he's going to California to do a dog and pony show. I shouldn't say that, but a tantamount to a dog and pony show about the wildfires in California. And I thought I heard him say something about he'd be signing more out there, but don't take that to the bank.
That would make sense. I mean, he doesn't need to sit there and sign them all on camera.
Right.
It'll still get publicized what they are.
Right.
Blind
Yeah.
Shot
So I
Social Club,
I anticipate there'll be more.
casual
Yes.
dining, indoor golf with space for events, craft cocktails, and non-alcoholic drinks too. A hidden gem on Madison's east side. Blind Shot Social Club, open to everyone. BlindShotSocialClub.com.
Clothes that fit your style and your life. At Equability, they adapt your jackets, pants, and more for dexterity or mobility challenges. Feel confident, comfortable, and ready for anything. Visit EQUability.co to make your clothes
Well,
easier
Dave,
to wear
keep
today.
listening. I will let you know what I think is worse.
Consistent pain in your joints.
Dave says, I defer to Todd Allbaugh. What's worse, sir?
You may be a
I do have an
candidate for a
opinion on this.
revolutionary
I'm going to
therapy
guess
that could revitalize
that
damaged
our
tissue.
opinions on this are
approach
opposite.
can provide
Really? Okay.
long-lasting
I don't know
find
what yours
there.
is, and I'm not saying what mine is. That's
I don't know what yours
We'll
is.
see.
All right, they're there.
No
For the beauty of
surgery,
those watching
no
on the
drugs,
stream,
and no
you know the
downtime.
behind-the-scenes
To find
story.
out
We're
if you're
going
a
into this
viable
cold
candidate, you may
on the
request a
air
free
live. We
consultation
don't
from
know
QC Kinetics
who
by
has
calling
what opinion.
608-384-0897.
It may be the same.
Instead
may be
of
different.
masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show of the Civic Media Radio Network. 21 now, past the hour of 1 o'clock on a Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. Chilly day out there. Bundle up. What do you dial up there, Mr. Zommers? Bring this back in.
Material Girl by Madonna. Because we're talking
What?
about
That was
shopping.
the intro. Yeah. Very good. What's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. What's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? You can also text us on the Civic Media app. Download it today. And we were talking about this. For those that want to tune in on Facebook, we're back on Facebook today, thank goodness. Zuckerberg unedited us. And Facebook, X, Twitter, at Allbaugh Show. Our handle is at Allbaugh, ALLBAUGH, at Allbaugh Show. We're also on YouTube. You can catch us there as well. And we were talking on we call it the secret show because, we believe in transparency. So, I mean, during the breaks, it's not, you actually hear us being goofy.
Not every show does that. There are good reasons to or
Well,
not
sure.
to. But
I
we
mean,
like
to
it. It's
each
fun.
their own. I just think because I'm a media guy who's always loved media. And so I think, well, give people a little behind the scenes because I think people wonder, well, is he really that smart? And if you tune into the the YouTube channel, you find out, well, not really. Well, okay. So, but no, we like to have a little fun behind the scenes. Anyway, asking what's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping, and Zommers and I may have different opinions on this. But first, your opinions. Tyler, listening up in Wisconsin Rapids on WFHR. Great station up there in Wisconsin Rapids. Tyler says, grocery shopping with 21 items in the 20 items or less checkout lane with a lady named Karina in line behind me tapping her foot impatiently. Yikes. That's very specific.
Yes, this is a very specific scenario.
Very specific. Apparently Tyler's had a bad experience. Well, I mean, I'm never going to count how many, if it's a 20 items or less, I'm not going to stand there and see if the person has 21.
I mean, what I do personally is if I have 5 things, I'll go in that line. Otherwise, I'll just go in a normal one.
Yeah. For years, I've been a believer, I'm going to go through the line with the person because I want to give people jobs. And so if I utilize that person, it's more likely that they'll have real checkout people. And also, I just like to talk to people. They check me out. I mean, the groceries, not me personally. Right. But, more and more places are getting these. And the thing is with self-checkout, oftentimes it doesn't work. And then your light starts blinking. Then you got to have a person come over. And then I was at a place, well, I'll tell you where. It was Cap Center Market, a few blocks from here. I stopped by a couple weeks ago. I don't know, I got 6-7 items. And I did the self-checkout. And it wouldn't go through, and then the friendly girl says, it seized up. It seized up. You're gonna have to go to a different one and take everything out and recheck it. I'm like, for heaven's sakes. So Tyler says definitely grocery shopping is worse in Wisconsin Rapids. We're asking, what's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? 855-752-4842. Mary in Wauwatosa says grocery shopping because it's less fun. Len, listening on WMDX in Madison, says clothes shopping is worse for me as I do it much less often and the price increases are more shocking. Well, that's a good point as well. 855-752-4842. Let's go to Karina in Milwaukee. Karina, have you been shopping up in Wisconsin Rapids? Are you this person that's tapping their foot in line?
No, I was just about to say, I said, you know what, Karina is not a very popular name, really. And I do get impatient when people are going into and they're not reading, they have no common sense. Why you are in this line? Can you please read? But I agree. If that wasn't the same, we were in the same city, I would say it probably was me. I'm sorry, but
it was not. It's on the other side of the state, so you're fine. It's another Karina.
Right.
So what's worse for you, grocery shopping or clothes shopping?
Grocery shopping first, because especially now, every week you buy the same stuff.
Thank you.
Okay. Same stuff, but the price is different. It actually increases in prices every freaking week you go to the store. Then they like to switch stuff on you, and you cannot find anything. Then you're gonna find somebody in the aisle saying, "Hi, I'm looking for a bread. Do you know where the bread is?" "Yeah, it's in the same aisle with the water." Would I ask you if I knew where the water is? What happened with the aisle number? For crying out loud, don't you have map of your own store? No, it's incredibly hard. It's
Karina,
incredibly hard.
that was beautiful. That was beautiful. That's a beautiful take. You're right. You're right. That's what my mom says. She says, "Why do they keep changing everything around? It's always in a different spot." Right?
Well,
right.
no. There is a reason for it.
Well, to sell more stuff. Yeah.
Yes, but I just get irritated and I get out of the store altogether.
I couldn't tell. Thanks, Karina. Have a great day.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. 855-752-4842. Carmela, listening on WAUK in Milwaukee. Carmela, what's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping?
For me, clothes shopping, but after hearing Karina, I'm kind of jumping on that thing. Everything she just said is becoming more and more frustrating. I was going to say,
go ahead.
Kohl's shopping, just because you can't compare. They usually go by name brand.
Right.
And then you have to go in each section. Like I compare things. So I'm always like price checking. So it's a little bit more difficult and more time consuming when you're clothes shopping. But Karina's point, they're changing everything. Prices are going up. I mean, you might have like a salad dressing and you would think it would be by the mayonnaise or whatever, and then they have in totally two different sections, or it gets frustrating.
I
And
agree.
as she said, you ask people where they are, and it's like, I don't know. Well, don't you have a map? Don't you know? And then they're calling 3 other people, and you're like, come on, I wanted to go.
Thanks, Carmela. Appreciate it. What's worse, clothes shopping or grocery shopping? 855-752-4842. Zombers and I will tell you our opinion on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's the Allbaugh Show on Civic Media. That's fantastic. Karina may have earned herself.
We want another promo?
I think Karina may have earned herself another promo. That was fantastic.
If you're planning to be out on the ice, a woman had to be
It would also be
rescued after
funny.
falling
I could
into
take
Lake
from last time when you said, Karina, can you tell us how you really feel? And just put that at the end of it again.
They were working to rescue her when EMTs first got there. She wasn't hurt, but she was taken to the hospital to make sure she was okay in such intense cold and cold water. The Madison Fire Department says she was pretending to ice skate in her shoes when it happened. It was near one of the areas with warmer water. Those spots are sectioned off and marked with buoys. Authorities say it's best to stay away from those spots. And if your garbage was supposed to be picked up but wasn't today, just leave it at the curb. The Madison Streets Division had to reduce their routes. They didn't use their back-loading trucks to keep crews out of the cold. That means they'll be busy going forward. They already had a delay because Monday was a holiday. And Wisconsin Democrats have unveiled a new package of bills aimed at lowering the cost of living. Lisa Hale reports.
This package of bills is designed to lower the cost of housing, groceries, and prescription drugs for Wisconsinites. One of the bills is the Healthy School Meals for All. That would provide free breakfast and lunch for all students in public schools. State Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner of Green Bay supports the bill and says it makes fiscal sense.
That every kid would be able to get breakfast and lunch, and that we would actually
I know
save
who
money
Madonna
because the
is,
cost of
Dave.
administering a program and collecting fees actually cost us dollars.
That's fair.
So it's actually
That's a
government
fair thing to
efficiency
say,
to actually
but-
provide a non-mean tested free access to meals.
The homestead tax credit would be expanded under the package. That expansion would allow people making up to $35,000 a year to take advantage of the credit. And the final bill would put caps on certain prescription medications such as
I
insulin.
love the fact that CP
The 3 bills
on
will
the
likely
grocery
be a tough
shopping,
sell
if
for the
you're watching online,
Republican-controlled legislature.
on the
But
graphic,
sponsors of the bill
there's a
say
woman
it's
picking
never the
out
wrong time
Milo
to do the
cereal.
right
I've never heard of Milo
I'm Savannah
cereal. Have
Tomei
you?
Wilson.
No,
You're
I have
listening
not.
to 92.7 WMDX News.
Is that like an off-brand?
On your
I
entertainment
was thinking about that
feed,
too. It looks kind of like
well,
an
you know what's a
off-brand
slow
of
holiday
Apple
weekend
Jacks.
at the box office when a movie that was released 5 weeks ago is number 1. Mufasa: The Lion King has been ranked 1 or 2 since its release on December 20th.
I mean, it makes sense
and
to
this
have
past weekend, the film brought in
random
almost
stuff like that
$12,000 to
for
lead the way at the
stock
domestic
photos.
box office.
Right. I guess they're
Mufasa
not
barely edged out
advertising
the
for a
number 2
specific
film
brand.
over the weekend. Sony
Yeah,
Pictures,
Tony, you're
One
right.
of Them
Yeah,
Days,
avoiding
was reviewed
copyright.
incredibly well and brought in
Milo's.
$11.6 million
Ooh,
last
let's grab
weekend.
us some
The
Milos.
comedy about 2 girls trying to make rent, starring Keke Palmer
I
and
also thought this
SZA,
was
is
really
a
funny.
surprise hit. Wolfman finished in 3rd place in its
Tony's
opening
comment.
weekend with just under 11 million and mediocre reviews. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 actually
You don't
moved
believe
up
it.
a spot from number 5 last week and finished in 4th with about $8.5 million. And it was Den of Thieves 2, which opened at number 1 last week, but had a huge drop-off and finished with about $6.5 million. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
Dangerously cold, with wind chills 30 to 20 below, warming up this afternoon to feeling 20 to 15 below. As temperatures climb throughout the evening and overnight, we will climb above 0 by early tomorrow morning. And light snow moves in late, with less than an inch expected. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Currently, it's 5 below 0.
Here's to a Wisconsin winter you will always remember. To playing outdoors in a winter wonderland. Here's to cozying up around the fire and holding someone close. And to staying downtown, where the food scene makes your heart sing. And to celebrating moments frozen in time. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your winter getaway at travelwisconsin.com. Sponsored by Travel Wisconsin.
Valentine's Day is almost here. Grab an Edible Arrangements delicious fruit bouquet with same-day delivery. Call 608-441-3535 or visit edible.com. Use promo code DANE20 for 20% off. Make this Valentine's Day unforgettable.
About 30 seconds.
All right, thank you. Wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 34 now past the hour of 1 o'clock. Coming up in a couple of minutes here, we're going to get back to a little politics here. A little bit lighter, but still very interesting, very important. Donald Trump launched his own cryptocurrency on Friday. Might be shocked how much he made off of it already. Going to talk about that in a minute. But first of all, we're right in the middle of What's Worse, our daily segment asking you all the important questions of the day. Your chance to weigh in across statewide radio and on the Civic Media app. What's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Zommers and I will tell you ours in a moment. But first of all, let's go back to Southeast Wisconsin, WAUK in Milwaukee, and Brian in Milwaukee. Brian, what's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping?
Well, kind of both. For me, the clothes shopping is just because I'm a stocky, short guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have to go to like a casual DL and try everything on to make sure it fits. You know?
Right.
But the grocery shopping is a pain in the butt too, because of course everyone's in a rush. So I make it easy. I have not stepped into a grocery store in the last 6 months. I order online and I have someone else deliver it.
No, really? Now this is fascinating to me. And can you what's the name of? Can you tell us the name of the store? Do you mind?
Walmart.
You go see. I've heard a lot of people use this at Walmart.
I became a member of Walmart Plus, and I just put my order online. Now, keep in mind, there may be times that stuff's not in stock, and they'll notify you saying, sorry, this isn't in stock, please order it again or whatever. But it's so convenient. I have not had, I moved in with my parents. I have health issues, and I order my groceries online, pay for it online, and then I get usually either I can choose when I want it delivered that day, next day, depending on what times they have available. And it's within a 2-hour delivery window on the day I select.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Grocery pickup and delivery from stores like Walmart is a godsend for people with disabilities.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I just find it, I'm so glad you called in because this is just fascinating to me.
I mean, and the thing is, too, with like Walmart Plus, not what I'm trying to promote any specific store, but
you're not making bank on this, but go ahead.
Groceries, you can order more than just groceries and have them delivered.
Sure.
I mean, I've had clothes delivered. The only risk is if it doesn't fit, then what do I do? Well, now I have to run back to the store.
Well, see, but you bring up such an interesting point, and because I don't know, it's because I'm a tactile person or what it is. I don't know. I like picking out my own stuff, and certainly I realize there are folks who, are, for whatever reason, aren't able to, or it's just not convenient. But I'm not a big order online for anything, although I've kind of gotten into Amazon since I was forced on. I wasn't forced, but Amazon Prime for watching sports. But I find it fascinating to talk to people who do this. And I know a lot of people, particularly not just in Milwaukee where you're at, but there are, to Zommer's point, and there's There are people in food deserts where there's not like a local grocery store, and people don't want to go and walk around a huge Walmart, so they do what you did or do. So that's just fascinating. I appreciate you. Go ahead.
And then I talk to the drivers too, the delivery drivers. And sometimes I see, he's been doing it for a few months now, I see the same delivery drivers. And it's like, God, is this like your full-time job? They're like, yeah.
We
just stay in the system, and we just pick up order after order after order. So keep ordering. We'll see you next week. It's like, okay.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a great story. I appreciate you calling in, Brian. Appreciate your listenership as well. Have a great day. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. What's worse, grocery shopping or clothes shopping? A couple more here before we round this out. Let's see here. We have, I think we did this, but Marion Tosa says grocery shopping is less fun. Also, Len in Madison on WAUK, clothes shopping is worse for me as I do it much less often and the price increases are more shocking. I guess, we did John in Oshkosh, WISS there in Oshkosh saying, hands down clothes shopping. Now, I'm not going to read what you wrote about yourself, but you're a larger guy, you say, so no regular stores have my size. I have to order everything online, hoping it fits true to size. Well, just like the last caller. And it does cost way more. Besides, grocery prices are sure to be cheaper any day now, as he puts a laughing emoji, clearly tongue-in-cheek. Well, who else do we have here? We have on WAUK, a listener there in Milwaukee, grocery shopping is worse because it's done more often. Also, Kurt in Madison, suggestion here, he says, maybe next time for what's worse, 1, waiting in line at the self-checkout, wondering if the person in front of you is going to figure out how to use it. All right, I've been there. Or number 2, waiting in line at the checkout while an older person keeps ramming you from behind with their cart. Kurt in Madison. Now, I've never been rammed from behind by an older person.
I have.
But
okay. I have
really
an older person using a shopping cart in a grocery store. Let's clarify that as far as being rammed from behind by an older person. But and it was, I don't think it was on purpose, but I have seen people who it does happen to on purpose.
Right. On WMDX, grocery shopping is a monotonous chore for me. Clothes shopping is more fun. Mark and Perdisac chiming back in. It's expensive to move things from aisle 3 to aisle 7, as he puts a laughing emoji. Let's see what else we have here. Megan, listening on MDX here in Madison, but she is on Sun Prairie. She says clothes shopping is worse. Finding something that fits is always a pain. The clothes almost never fit the same way twice from the same brand and style. Also, my husband does the grocery shopping, so I rarely have to think about it. Mary in Tosa says grocery shopping is worse because the aisles limiting the number of items either you have behind you makes it more difficult. And Jude in East Troy says hate clothes shopping because clothes aren't made the size that we remember, so sizes are impressively different. That was a lot of that. I love all the people weighing in, and I can tell you from working at LL Bean for a while that listener is right, that there are certain brands now that are cutting their clothes bigger because guess what? Americans by and large are bigger, but they don't want to feel guilty about buying a bigger size. So a 34 waist is not necessarily an actual 34 waist. It might be a 35 or a 36, but it makes people feel better.
And so don't even get into women's clothes where they have arbitrary numbers that mean literally nothing.
I haven't gotten into women's clothes in quite a while, but anyway, but no, it makes it. All right, so here, Sommers, you go ahead and I'll tell. So what's worse, Sommers, grocery shopping or clothes shopping?
I'm going to put in here the caveat that I don't really enjoy either that much, depending on the store. But I'm going to say that clothes shopping is worse because grocery shopping, I like food. I like to eat food. I like to cook food. And I can find some enjoyment in that as long as it's not in a maze like Woodman's. But clothes shopping, I'm a tall person, and whatever the average sizes are they have in stores just do not fit my body. But I can't just order clothes online because then they won't fit either. I need to be able to try it on because it's so annoying. And also, I'm really bad at like choosing things that look good for myself, which is why I like to just wear a t-shirt and jeans because it is easy and I don't have to think about it.
Oh, just take me like Trigby does, and I'll help you
I
buy
would,
your
I
clothes.
would, I would like to dress more.
You dress fine, but I get what you're saying. I'm not.
Right.
It's not fair. Well, my our friend Rob, listening out in RCE in Richland Center, asking. He says, "I'm guessing that for you, it's food shopping is worse. For Zommers, it's clothes. Just my guess." He says, "I hate all shopping, but if I have to, I hate clothes shopping more." Rob, who has known me a long time, he is exactly right.
I figured.
And I think the reason for me is because usually I don't buy a lot of new clothes, but when I do, I kind of, say, okay, well now, and I try to go to like outlet places or whatever where it's like 50 or 75% off. And so I think, well, this will be kind of fun. I actually probably have more fun helping other people shop for clothes than myself. But when I go, I think, well, okay, this is kind of fun. It's something I need to do or want to do. Where grocery shopping, it depends on where I shop. I've talked about this before. Metcalf's here in Madison. They actually, for years, had one or two people that would go through the store just looking for shoppers that seemed lost and would say, "May I help you find anything? What are you?" And they would know down to like the centimeter where something was at. They could take you right to it. So I mean, that was great. But yeah, look, nothing wrong with Woodman's. I've told this story before. The quick version is I was in Woodman's, whatever it was, 2020, like the night before the country shut down. And I ran into my friend Allison, not literally, but almost. But we said this is like the apocalypse. I mean, people were it was like the Cabbage Patch Dolls released in the late 80s, early 90s. On Black Friday, people were grabbing rolls of toilet paper out of each other's carts. People were getting bloodied and bruised.
Yeah, that was not exclusive to Woodman's.
It was just crazy. And so if you go to places like that on the wrong night, you take your life in your own hands. So, but part of that's on me for not planning my shopping better. So, I like to shop at a nice grocery store, but if I had to choose, I would say I prefer shopping for clothes over shopping for food.
A listener in Oshkosh on WISS says, "Oh yeah, try shopping for shoes." Angry face emoji. Yeah, totally agree. My feet are also weird. Like they're very wide. And so I need to be able to try on shoes as well. And that's why the shoes that I'm wearing are falling apart and have been for, I think, over a year. And I just am dreading going back in to buy new shoes.
We need to get you a personal shopper, Zommers.
Yeah, I need to work on that.
All right, well, that wraps up this time's edition of that was a big one. People, I love it when people have feelings. So join us tomorrow in the 1 o'clock hour for another edition of What's Worse. All right, back to a little bit more serious news here as we take a turn, but still news that's rather odd to me. According to CBS News, President-elect Donald Trump launched his own cryptocurrency on Friday, sparking a feverish buying that apparently sent markets capitalization soaring. Now, cryptocurrency, if you don't know, it's fine. You hear Bitcoin. Basically, people make crap up and say, hey, we're going to make up a Bitcoin. And it's nothing you can carry around in your purse or your pocket. It just exists digitally. And then people use actual money, like the dollar, to buy this stuff.
Well, the way that it originally was intended to work is something that avoids a mint so that it's not one country controlling it. It's every person can, they call it mine Bitcoins. And
that, yeah, right. And that gets into, to quote unquote mine this, that you're not actually mining like a physical, you're not mining for
your computer is
iron.
doing complicated math.
Thank you. And the larger these things get, the bigger the computers. And then they have to put it looks like a pole building, and it's usually in a rural community, and it takes up enormous amounts of energy. And it makes this weird whizzing sound like this.
Yeah, I can respect the original concept of Bitcoin, but it has gone way too far. And now what you said is entirely correct. Now people just make crap up.
And say, buy this.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, A financial asset that didn't exist 4 days ago is now most of Donald Trump's net worth. In the past, Trump ridiculed cryptocurrency. He said it was based in thin air, just like I said. Actually, something we'd agree upon. But last week, on Friday, Trump launched his own crypto. And on paper only, its value. Did you look this up, Zomers? Do you want to take a guess? How much is the Trump crypto worth today?
$237.41.
No, overall, like that. You're saying overall?
Oh no, 16 billion.
Close.
No, not close.
50 billion with
gosh.
a B. $50 billion.
That's insane.
Just like that, Trump joined the Billionaires Club, running our federal government. Come back, talk more about it. Trump's crypto. You can't even tell who's buying this stuff. Come on now. We'll come on back. We'll talk more about it. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Tuesday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Tony on YouTube says, Aaron, you need to use the Civic Media company tailor to make your clothes and the cobbler to make your custom shoes. Pretty sure they're on the payroll. Why does nobody tell me about this?
AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy, or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam.
Lennon Madison says, I call it butt coin, something someone pulled out of their butt. A cryptocurrency.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Hey everybody, Dane County Humane Society reminds you, hey, bang on the hood of your vehicle before starting your engine this winter. It's that simple. You can save a cat's life. With frigid temperatures and little shelter, some cats are going to try to find a way to keep safe and warm, including, guess where? Under car hoods and in the wheel well of your vehicle. So before climbing into your vehicle and starting the engine, bang on the hood and give cats an opportunity to flee. To learn more, visit giveshelter.org.
Yes, I added the cat meows so it grabs people's attention, but my primary objective in editing that was to make Todd laugh. So I
But you did.
You know, the podcast interview in like late November of 2024 when he said women in combat
and the
weaken
kitties
the
are
military. Except for that,
sleeping.
did you get
Oh,
body
those
snatched?
beautiful kitties all alone in the park.
10 seconds.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is 9 before the hour of 2 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of the great civic media stations you are listening to across Wisconsin. And then coming up after the news, weather and sports. Sports with our great sports reporter, Mike Clemens, by the way, always on top of things. It will be the Maggie Dawn Show every afternoon from 2 until 4. Today, Maggie talks about Donald Trump invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 in his inaugural address yesterday. What is that law, and what does this mean to Wisconsinites? Maggie also breaks down the news of the day and what does the confluence of MLK Day and Trump's inauguration yesterday tell us about this moment. Coming up on the Maggie Dawn Show. And then after that, from 4 until 6, the Dom Salvia Show. Dom has a little overtime with Maggie Dawn. So there you go. You get a double dose of Maggie to begin the show, and then moves the conversation to phone lines to hear what callers think about the news of the day. So there you go. And that's the lineup. And then after Dom Salvia, you've got the great Pete Schwaba and Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, followed by Rick Smith Across America. and our friend Robert Pilot with Native Roots Radio. Always a great program. And don't forget, you could hear Jane and Greg on Matt Nair on air every day before our show from 10 until noon. And then you got Earl Ingram from 8 until 10 in the morning. And Pat Kreitlow from 6 until 8 in the morning. Have I missed anybody's hours?
Probably.
Well, that wasn't my intention.
Okay,
I'm trying to be a team player, you understand?
What I meant by that is not probably you miss stuff all the time.
Right.
No, what I was saying is probably we have a lot of shows.
We have a lot of shows. We have a lot. I mean, you got Mino and the Mayor over in Green Bay and Oshkosh.
The John and Gordy show here in Madison.
Yeah, John and Gordy show here in Madison.
WFHR and WRCE, they have some of their own shows.
Yes. All the shows. All the
There are a
shows. There are. As Miguel Vega once told me, that's a lot. Anyway, we're talking about Donald Trump a little bit here at the end of the show. And this is from the category of Did You Know? You watch ESPN, they have the segment called Did You Know? They give you a sports fact. Did you know where that Did You Know segment came from? Did you know?
No.
Years ago in college, Chris Myers was at ESPN for a long time. Now he's with Fox Sports. And he came to Platteville to do a talk in his early days at ESPN. And I was the one that got to drive him back to Madison the hour and a half to the airport. And we had a great conversation, told me a lot about the early days of ESPN. And he told me that he was the one that started that segment, Did You Know, on ESPN. And it was based off the fact that he was a big fan of Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. And Carson was one of his taglines. When somebody would say something that was kind of mildly interesting but wasn't a great guest, and Carson didn't really know where to go, he would listen and he'd say, I did not know that. So that's where it came. That's where it came from. Did you know? Anyway, so Donald Trump launched his own cryptocurrency on Friday, now valued at $50 billion with a B. Just like that, Trump joins the billionaires club running the federal government. And we have no way, by the way, of knowing which foreign or domestic players have enriched Trump by transferring millions to this new crypto. And on Sunday, First Lady Melania Trump launched her own crypto grift. And in 2 hours, it had $5 billion of deposits. Many voters may not have realized they were voting for self-dealing corruption. Who's investing, quote unquote, that $55 billion into combined between President and Melania Trump's crypto business?
I imagine a lot of it is from the people who were sitting behind him as he was inaugurated.
You would think. But the Saudis put in a couple of bucks.
I'm sure they did.
Other people like that. Dubai. Might have put some money in there. Let's go quickly back to Karina. Karina, got to make it quick, but what do you have on crypto?
Hi, I'm back. Hey, you know what? People have to understand that the Trump is have amazing quality. I'm not saying it's a good one, but it is amazing to create a value out of thin air. Example, TikTok, okay? So Biden administration, I'm not saying somebody good or bad. Biden administration just wanted to close and forget about it. Trump comes in and says, oh, no, this is what we're going to do. We're going to close it if you're not going to pay us. So he creates out of complete thin air, as he says, $50 billion, because now TikTok have a choice. Either it's going to be closed or they have to give us 50% as the United States, whatever it is, and then it's going to be active in America. So this is how this person functions. It creates a value. It creates a scandal or story or whatever it is, like he does right now with the childbirth rights. It's a part of the Constitution.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, appreciate the call, Karina. And speaking of that, we'll probably have more coverage as the day progresses here on Civic Media. But breaking news, Wisconsin has joined other states now filing a federal lawsuit against that, trying to get rid of birthright citizenship that Karina mentioned. A great show today. Yes, Donald Trump is many things, or not many things, but he knows how to sell. Can't deny that. And he's brought in $50 billion in less than a week on his Trump cryptocurrency. Many thanks to Luke Mathers for Tuesday Tangents with Lukester. Coming up tomorrow, Pat Kreitlow of Up North News Radio and our old friend Tryggvi Olsen is back with us on a Wednesday for Hump Day. Many thanks to Zommers and all of you for listening as well. We appreciate you, whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in. Do not give up. Keep banging your drum. See you tomorrow.
All right, everybody.
All right. Thank you. We appreciate you. Adios.
Adios.